Getting sponsors in First Robotics can definitely be a challenge, so I decided to see if ChatGPT can give me an unfair advantage. But how much does ChatGPT even know about First Robotics, and can it make a marketing plan that even works? Because at the end of the day, if it works to get my team more sponsors, then I'd be curious to know what else ChatGPT can help my First Robotics team with. So the first step of this plan is we need a really good prompt to give ChatGPT to give it the best chance at making a solid marketing plan to help us get more sponsors. What I've done is I've asked ChatGPT to find the top 5 articles online about getting sponsorships for youth sports and nonprofit organizations. And now I'm going to take that data and bring it into the next step of this plan. So step 2 is taking that information and trying to refine it to be more specific to First Robotics. So this is where I'm going to tell ChatGPT to take the key points from these articles and to create a marketing plan that's tailored towards my strengths or the strengths of my team. So that way I can create something that I know my team can actually pull off and that will hopefully be effective. Now, the 4 main areas of marketing that I'm going to focus on are social media marketing, video marketing, email marketing, and in-person event marketing. Marketing is a long game that requires a lot of consistent effort, so I'm going to be realistic here and say that this plan should be implemented over a 12-month time period. All right, so step 3 of this plan is to see the strategy that ChatGPT just gave us and analyze it to see how realistic is it. Does it seem like it's actually feasible, and is it going to be effective? Now, surprisingly, ChatGPT has given me a 5-phase plan over 12 months, which is pretty cool, which tells me that it's definitely thinking about a phased approach and not just, here's all this information, go do it. So phase 1, it says, is for months 1 and 2, and it's just going to be setting down the foundation and planning for our strategy. Creating a team value proposition, highlighting what makes our team unique, identify what sponsors are going to gain by partnering with us, creating some sponsorship packages in different tiers, and starting to build an online presence on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Phase 2, it says, which is ongoing from months 3 through 12, dealing with social media marketing, talks about creating a content calendar, gives me different content types such as sponsorship highlights, competition highlights, team progress, and community engagement. Now, if I were to implement this, I would probably focus the most on team progress and community engagement, such as STEM education tips, Q&A sessions, and behind the scenes. We need to educate our potential sponsors and current sponsors what our team is all about. Phase 3, which is months 3 through 12, it talks about video marketing. So it actually has here that we should create a sponsorship pitch video, which is pretty interesting. I don't know how many teams actually have one of these, but I can definitely get behind that. It says it's a 2-minute sponsorship video that explains our team's mission, our values, achievements, and sponsorship benefits. It talks about personalizing different versions of this for emails that we can send to sponsors. And we should also be creating weekly behind-the-scene vlog type videos. So showing robot work, team culture, and sponsorship contributions in action. It also has on here testimonial videos, which I think is pretty sweet. These types of videos are really powerful, especially if you get current students, current mentors, past students who have graduated, or current sponsors to talk about the impact that sponsorships have on the team and the community. All right, so phase 4, which it says is months 4 through 10, talks about email marketing and direct outreach. It says to start building a targeted list of potential businesses that we could reach out to and to research local and national companies with a STEM focus. And I find this really interesting because looking at local businesses is pretty common, and I think pretty much the first place that every team looks at. But at the national level, not usually something a lot of teams look at. So I think this is a very interesting strategy and definitely something that I would look into. It talks about trying to find businesses that have sponsored similar programs. And then this part is actually really interesting because this is something that I utilize, but I haven't really seen utilized by many other teams. And that is utilizing LinkedIn or the company website to try to find decision makers. Now, this is definitely something that I've learned about when it comes to doing marketing and trying to find potential clients, but I'm really surprised that ChatGPT brought this strategy up, because it's really powerful, but definitely something that is kind of hidden to a lot of people. LinkedIn is awesome. You can actually go and search up director of marketing of different companies, and you can find the exact person that you need to email or talk to who makes the decision on whether or not that they want to sponsor someone and how much money they're willing to give. After months 4 through 5, it talks about sending out initial outreach emails, attaching your sponsorship video to them, and personalizing them for each company that you reach out to. A follow-up strategy for months 7 through 9, where you send follow-up emails with your team's progress, invite them to in-person events, and provide some limited sponsorship opportunities. Lastly, it talks about sponsorship retention emails in months 10 through 12, where you update sponsors on the impact that they've had so far on your team, and you offer renewal options for the next season. This is super in-depth, and I actually really like this. Lastly, phase 5, which is months 6 through 12, is for in-person event marketing. It talks about having a sponsor VIP day, hosting an open house or demo for potential sponsors to come and see your robot and your team, and having a student presentation on how sponsors have made a difference. It talks about going to industry networking and STEM events in months 7 through 9, having sponsorship recognition at competitions in months 9 through 12, and an end-of-season appreciation event at the very end in month 12. All of these things are definitely things that I've done in the past on other teams, and I know that a lot of First Robotics teams do now. So it's really nice to see that ChatGPT has created a strategy that involves a lot of things that teams are currently doing right now that are effective. So yeah, this seems pretty solid. Now it gives me a projected timeline and goals for what I should be hitting for every phase of this plan that it's given me. And this is super sweet because it helps me to know how many sponsors I should have by each part of this plan. And if I'm behind or ahead, I know if I'm winning or losing. Now, I've only shown little snippets of this plan in this video, but I actually have the entire plan in the link of this video. So if you're interested in actually downloading the entire plan and seeing the prompts that I specifically put in, you can go check it out below. Now, some of these things that it gave me are things that I would definitely be doing, and other things it gave me are things that I'd never even thought of before, which I really enjoy because that definitely helps me open up to some possibilities that you could be doing for a First Robotics team to try to get more sponsors. But I'm really curious to know if you're someone who does a lot of sponsorship work on your team in First Robotics. Of the things in this plan, how many of them are actually things you're doing right now? And how many of them are things that you have thought about doing but really haven't pulled the trigger on yet? Or lastly, how many of them were things that you had never even thought of before and maybe this helped you give some new ideas? I'd be curious to know, so let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that wraps up this little experiment, but I hope you gained some value out of this video and you had a little bit of fun with me. And as always, if you're interested in learning more about marketing and First Robotics, check out the other videos on my channel and make sure you subscribe so that way the next video that I put out, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.